All right, we got it, I hope. Oh, had to reload this. Okay. First thing is I have to ask, can you hear me, folks? Because among other things, I am testing a new microphone tonight. As much as I enjoyed that big stand mic, I really wanted to be sure to have a microphone here that would travel with me, so that there wouldn't be any fade outs. Can you hear me, folks? That's the first thing, please. Testing, testing. Can you hear me? Okay, let's do this. As far as I can tell, I should be. Oh yeah, mobility's. Oh, good. You can hear me. Excellent, excellent. Okay, good. Okay. All right, then in that case, at long last, hi there. Welcome everybody to Cast Iron Wednesday at last. After the last 2 weeks have been were canceled, I'm afraid. Yes, we are finally back, and I hope this is for good. So thank you to everybody. But yes, here it is once again, Cast Iron Wednesday, which again means that a lot of YouTube cooking channels do a cast iron video on Wednesdays to really that gives us an excuse to play with cast iron, of course, and do a cast iron video in pretty much any way that we want to do. And in my case, I've been doing these live videos here on Wednesdays. Well, with the exceptions of the ones that I had to cancel. I've been doing this for getting on near to 5 years yet, somehow. And but I would again like to thank everybody who's been kind enough to put up with all of the chaos that has been happening over the last few weeks or so. And it's quite frankly not over yet. However, at least tonight, I finally have an opportunity to do a live video and spend some time with all of you. So thank you so much. Thank you to everybody. Sound is slightly muted here. Clarity issue. Okay. Let me try pointing the microphone more towards me if I can do that. Okay, let's see. Does that sound any better? I now have it pointing in this direction. Sound is fine. Video is bad. It says Brody YYC. Okay. Okay. Is anybody else having video problems then? Because I did, in fact, have some difficulty connecting as well on my end. In that, normally it go when I click on the option to go live, it goes live almost immediately. This time, I actually had to refresh my browser before it would allow me to go live. Your beard is jiggling around. Shit, cute. Okay, video fine. All right, hello. Anyway, then in that case, hello to Greg Hart, and hello to Val's Black Cats Rule, and hello to Clico and Warren Ukraine, and hello to Brody YYC. I'll see if it's mine. I'm on a TV. Now, that could very well be the case. Although I will have to say one thing, namely that only 2 days ago, I gave up cable internet, and now I am running on fiber optic in my home. My router has not changed yet, but I do have a new router coming in on Saturday. So my hope is that actually, probably when I install the new router, should actually boost the signal and make these things somewhat more reliable. But nonetheless, thank you very much to everybody who's been kind enough to show up here once again. Especially since we are doing some baking tonight. And in fact, I had better get started largely because I've got some ingredients to put together. So far, it has worked very well. I had fiber optic several years ago with Verizon Fios back in Massachusetts, and then I moved to a new address which did not have it, and then I moved here to New York, which did not have it until 2 days ago. So I'm actually doing not bad. Okay, but like I said, let's start mixing some ingredients here because, as mentioned in the description of this video, we are producing not one but two cakes tonight, and both of these are very simple cakes, actually, using only a few basic ingredients. Although we're going to be doing these in two different ways. The first one is going to be a vanilla cake, which I have made before, in fact. But I was asked, in fact, someone pretty much pleaded to do the vanilla cake once again because they really enjoyed it. So And anyway, the hardest part is in fact measuring out or weighing the flour. That's one thing I've learned so far in my poor attempts at baking, that measuring your ingredients, or at least the flour, is essential if you want to get a decent, if you want to get any decent results. So in this case, I am going to be doing um, 433 grams of cake flour. And then the next one will be using a little bit less cake flour. Although, interestingly enough, the next one is going to use something of a meringue, so to speak. Come on. Okay. I'm sifting it out this way. And but best of all, the nice thing about the scale, at least, is that it can guarantee to have the right amount. And that's why I have definitely become something of a convert in weighing my flour, he said, while getting it all over the place. I'm supposed to do 433. I'm only about halfway there, so there's plenty of time yet. Well, actually, I'm at 260 now, so we're actually starting to get close. So let's dump in this much. Come on. 280, 300, 320. All right, we are down to 322, just a little bit more than 100 grams to go. So here's where we have to start being a little more careful. 326, 340, 350, 355, 358. Just a bit more at a time. Come on, don't get it all over the place. That should be another rule. Don't spill it all over the place. Actually, I'm sure that is a rule. Okay, got maybe 60 grams to go. All right, 386, 388. Boy, the last part is the part that takes forever, of course, naturally. So let's put in about this much. Come on. I should have put this in a bowl or a cup anyway. 414, 415, almost there. A little less than 20 grams to go. And here's where the difficult part comes in. Come on already. 19, 22, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 5 grams to go. All right. So let's try just a little bit. I'm sure cocaine dealers probably had the same problem. 420. Hey, there it is. Exactly. 433. Actually 434 now, but that's okay. We made it. All right, that was the long part. Yay. So let's get this out of the way for the moment, since we will be doing this a second time. However, right now, okay, that means I can put the scale to the side for the moment. We'll bring it back for the second cake. The rest of it is going to be a little bit easier. To this we do 1 teaspoon salt. All right, picture good, still a lot of fuzz. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, William Hurt. Okay, fuzz as in the sound, is that what you mean? Okay, I'm the only one with bad video quality. Could be weather, picture good. Did you give up on carnivore? Well, no, I'm not going to be eating this cake myself. Don't worry. This will be for family, so not to worry. Okay, that was 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of baking powder coming up. But yes, it is true that my life has been kind of chaotic lately, in an interesting way, in that nobody has been hurt, in that nobody has gotten sick or anything else like that. There have been other things of family drama that I don't talk about on the internet. So suffice to say, we are doing our best to get by nonetheless. All right. Come on already. Ugh, how hard is it? There we go. Okay, and 1 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking soda. That's probably more than enough. All right. Now that we've done that, all we have to do is whisk together our dry ingredients. And this part is easy, especially since we sifted the flour in advance. Then to this, we will simply be adding it to our wet ingredients. So there's nothing to it. All right, and in fact, that takes care of the dry ingredients, which means now the next part is we get to start creaming. All right, and that means we will need to move the camera over a little bit and try not to get it caught to our our mixer. Okay, the KitchenAid mixer, but yes, the sound is not so nice and crisp, says William Hurt. Okay, did you actually get hitched? No, I did not get hitched. I will say that. I have a girlfriend, yes, which might explain some of the chaos, but no, I did not get hitched. All right. However, that also means I've started interacting with the most interesting family. Anyway, okay. To this, we're going to do 1.5 cups of unsalted butter, supposedly softened to room temperature. I can only hope it has been. I've had this out. We're finally getting into some summer weather here, and I've had this out enough to where the point where I hope the butter is properly softened. Here's 1 stick, 2 sticks. Certainly looks soft enough. And 3 sticks. And to this, we will cream together the butter and sugar. The sugar in this case will be 2 cups of granulated sugar. So let us add that as quickly as we can. And then I'll finally have some time to talk, I guess, because we are going to be doing. In fact, this 1 cup is too big. The cup that is, I'm going to have to make it 4 half cups. All right, 4 half cups. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Put the cover on the sugar so that there aren't any accidents or any more accidents. Get out our mixing paddle. Yeah, come on. There, at last. And up we go. And now we start creaming. Okay, and while we're doing that, hello, Fuzz Fork, her brother, I think. I hope them brown eggs aren't the brown eggs that have been recalled. Not that I know of. I get my brown eggs from Price Chopper. They are the store brand. So, as far as I know, there hasn't been a problem with the Price Chopper brand eggs. Okay. Hello, Rocket Caver as well. Rocket, Warren. All right, I hope them brown eggs. Okay, we got this to this point. All right, and once we do this, we will be adding the actual wet ingredients to this. And that is going to mean, oh, yeah. Okay, I'm going to have to actually separate 2 egg whites. So While this is busy creaming, let me dig out a dish quickly. It's only 2 egg whites, so that shouldn't be too bad. I've also brought my eggs to room temperature. I've done my best to try to prepare in advance tonight. Actually, since I'm supposed to be doing, with the second cake, I'm supposed to be doing 4 large egg yolks. I should really be careful when I do this. Okay, let me get yet another bowl. Might actually be able to save a couple of egg yolks, or eggs, in fact. One will be for whites, one will be for the yolk, or at least as best as I can. Do this carefully, as always. Yeah, as always, you say. All right. Try to put the yolk just up there. Did it? Hey, that actually turned out a little easier than I thought. Maybe that's because I brought the egg up to room temperature. So that's 1. Now comes number 2. Then to this, I'm just going to be adding 3 regular eggs as well. But I'm definitely reserving these yolks. Nope, careful. Ah, damn it. All right. Now, maybe I can just fish out the yolk. I noticed the yolk didn't break, so this might actually work. Let's dig out a big spoon. Try not to break it. Try not to break it. Damn it. Yeah, now there's the damn it. Come on already. Nuts. Well, almost made it. This will have to be good enough. So more or less. Okay. That was the hard part. All right. Anyway, at least we definitely have creamed together the butter and sugar at this point. So to this, we add 3 eggs plus these egg whites. All right. 1. This one is a vanilla cake, by the way. The yellow cake comes next. 2. 3. And now comes the egg whites. Well, since it's also using yolks, that's why I don't think this extra yolk will be any problem. I'll wipe off my hands. Now for this, we do a tablespoon of vanilla extract. And here it is. Yay for homemade vanilla extract. Finally, 1.5 cups of buttermilk. And that is pretty much going to be our batter. Really nothing to it, is it? Where is the buttermilk? Here it is. I have 2.5 cups here because I'm actually going to be doing, I need some for the other cake as well. So let's do this carefully. We're at 1.5 cups. Am I doing this right? We're at 1.25 cups. Okay. And that's that. Actually, always forget something. Where is my soft spatula? Excuse me. Because I think I definitely need to scrape this down a little bit. Yeah, I can see that all of this stuff just stuck inside there. So let's scrape down the sides. Then once this is ready, it'll be time to get out some cast iron. Oh yeah, that's right. Of course it looks runny. I haven't added the dry ingredients yet. No wonder it looks runny. Okay. Anyway, while we're doing this as well, okay, cakes. All cakes, I never have a problem. I just realized the necklace is the chaos symbol. Yes, that's true. I just learned what today is because people are graffitiing it all over LA. Oh, well, actually, I'm glad to hear that, Brody. You delve into vanilla bean paste, powder, sugar. I have not yet. No, I've been making my own homemade vanilla extract for the past several years. So I have pretty much an unlimited supply of vanilla extract on hand, and I'm quite happy about that. Now, it's that. And a little more. Here we go. Now it's starting to get the consistency of cake batter. Phew. I was beginning to worry there for a second. All right. Just knock this off the top. Almost ready already. All right, scrape off the sides again. And then comes the cast iron. Now this is actually looking like some nice cake batter right now. Yay. So far, so good. So, since we don't want to overmix it, and down we go. Ha ha. Ha ha. Hardy har har. All right. I cheat when making a cake. I use Betty Crocker from a box, and there is nothing wrong with Betty Crocker from a box. I am not one of those people who sneers and says, "Oh, you use box mix," or "Oh, you use store-bought pizza dough or sauce or the like." Hey, as far as I'm concerned, if it, I mean, you are still making it from scratch because, after all, you are still mixing all the ingredients together. Welcome to America. Okay. All right. I saw that thing where people were suggesting to replace eggs with applesauce. Yes. Well, yeah, actually, I've made a few eggless cakes as well when the prices went up earlier this year, and they actually turned out not too bad at all. However, let's not waste any more time. Let's get back over here. Oh yeah, here's my other cake pan that I'll be using later. The large cast iron casserole. That one is going to come out in a little while. Right now, though, I've done this a number of times on these live videos, and you probably know what is going to happen next because my cake pan is preheating in the oven, which means it's going to be really hot. So, let's get this out of the way as well. Sorry, 1 second. Let's make sure, scrape off this mixing paddle. And with that, we will be ready. Oh, yeah, better get out the Crisco, because again, those of you who know my channel know what that means. And yes, you're absolutely right. Let me quickly get that out, as well as my basting brush. All right, let's move back over here, because this is where you want to see the show. Basting brush. Here's the basting brush. All right. We have the Crisco, we have the baking brush, we have the batter. That means it's time now for the Lodge cast iron fluted cake pan, which has been heated in the oven to 425 degrees. And so, here it comes. Holy cow, this is hot. Ta-da! I promised cast iron on Cast Iron Wednesday, and here it is. The Lodge fluted cake pan, which, as we know, is not actually a bundt pan, because the word bundt is copyrighted by Nordic ware, in fact. So as a result, though these cake pans have been around since before Nordic ware invented the word bundt. Regardless, I'm positive that Lodge produced this in imitation of the bundt pan, in much the same way they produced their wedge pan in imitation of the BS&R cornbread skillet. But hey, why not? Besides, as we know, this is about the almost only cast iron fluted cake pan that is being made today. So if not for this, we'd all be paying like about $300 or more off of eBay and the like to get them. You could still do that, in fact. However, at least there is a somewhat less expensive option now available. All right, what I have to do again is coat every inch of the inside with this oil, which is getting very hot. I mean, it melted almost instantly. All right, little by little. The good part is, as well, is that both of these cakes are going to be baking at the same temperature. I mean, I heated this to 425, but once it goes in the oven, it is going to be lowered to 350. Okay, so far, I think we are just about ready, which means here's where the show really turns interesting. Okay, that means we put this aside, cover the Crisco. Move this carefully to one side. Bring out the bowl with the batter. Pour the extra oil from the cake pan into the batter. There isn't very much this time, fortunately. I think I'm getting better at this. Take my spatula, which I just had. Oh, here it is. Quickly mix all of this together. This gives me an excuse to scrape off the sides, too. And just like that, move this back to the center, move this over, and in goes the batter. The really hard part for me is always making sure it doesn't leak down the center hole of the pan. Oh, yes, I miss doing this. As I said, I wasn't able to do this the last couple of weeks or so, so I am really happy to be cooking again. This makes me feel so much better. This honestly is like cooking therapy. All right, move this around a little bit. And actually, I'm going to have to wash this out for the second cake. However, now we quickly get this into the oven. And in we go. 1, 2, 3, and finally lower the temperature of the oven to 350 degrees so that the temperature will decrease as the cake bakes. Ah, and that takes care of cake number 1, vanilla cake. And according to the recipe here, bake for around 23 to 26 minutes or until the cakes are baked through. Well, in that case, the recipe says to use 2 round cake pans. Since we're using one of these, we'll probably have to bake it a little bit longer, but probably not much longer. I'm betting all of this should be done in about 40 minutes. Okay, so that means I have a couple of minutes before we get started on the second cake. All right, bong or the Jello? Cute. Um, okay, Jello was the original intent. Oh, that sounds interesting. That large bundt pan might make some interesting bread. Oh, it certainly does. No question about that. I am not much of a bread baker, I'm sorry to say, but I have made quite a few cakes in this cake pan. But yes, I do know of bread makers who have indeed used that. Would be a fun pan to make some kind of aspic. Oh, aspic. Oh, I'm shuddering at the thought of aspic. Uh, aspic, I would honestly call, would say in the 1950s or so, someone sold his soul to Satan and to produce aspic. Okay, while you're making this, I'm making strawberry jello in Pyrex with strawberries and bananas. Oh, that sounds good, war in Ukraine. Okay. And now the star of the show. Well, no, you're actually exactly right, Incel Hubby. The star of the show is the cast iron. That's why everybody is here. I like it that your attachments have that white coating. The metal KitchenAid attachments are known for rusting. These are KitchenAid attachments. As far as I know, KitchenAid has been coating their pieces for quite a while now. The oldest ones probably didn't, but every KitchenAid item I know of has been, at least the ones produced by KitchenAid, have been indeed enameled. Although at a flea market, I did find a nice bread, a spiral bread hook that is made of aluminum or something, and that one is definitely not enameled. I'm quite happy about that. The chocolate eggless cake looked yummy. Yes, that was the wacky cake really turned out good. All right. So, how much are the Lodge bundt pans? Well, Lodge sells them on their website for what is it now? Like maybe $70 or $80. I don't know if the price has gone up, but they were selling it for about $80 plus shipping on their website. They've also made it available, I think, on Amazon and probably at places like Williams Sonoma as well. So thanks to Lodge cast iron, the cast iron bundt pan is no longer extremely rare. If you want a vintage one, even the cost of the vintage ones have gone down somewhat since then. All right, which means I'm going to have to wash out this bowl here. Let me move back over to the table here. I'm going to have to wash out this bowl, but before I do, yeah, I've got to lick a little bit of this batter. Mm. Vanilla cake batter. Num. Mm. Oh man, this is good. Oh man, I can't believe how long it's been since I've had cake batter. One more, and that's it. mm. Oh man, I am going to have a sugar rush just from that. All right. However, I am going to have to quickly not lick this bowl, but wash this bowl because I am, in fact, going to have to make a second cake. And unfortunately, I don't have a second KitchenAid bowl. Gee, maybe I should be looking at the flea markets for another KitchenAid bowl so that way I can make 2 cakes at a time. Come on already. Without having to go through this, namely wasting some good batter that could easily be licked. However, until then, I have no choice. At least since this is fresh batter, it's easy to wash off. It's not hard and dry or anything like that. So all I really have to do is quickly rinse this out and then use a paper towel to dry it. And since we're going to be making another cake, this should be good enough. All right. Let me put this upside down in my rack and do the same thing with the paddle. And from there, as I said, I will quickly dry off the bowl and we will be ready to start cake number 2. Cake number 2 is going to be a little interesting because this one is going to be a yellow cake, a yellow sheet cake. All right, and there we go. So, head back to here. Grab myself a fresh Bounty paper towel or 2. With some things, brand does matter, and with paper towels, that is one of them. So yeah, Bounty is not paying me for this. Wouldn't mind if they did, but Bounty does a great job very quickly drying off metal bowls and stuff like this. And anyway, this is a very basic cake too. So, there are some things where the exact ingredients and the environment and all that really, really matter. This one, fortunately, is more basic, and that's good because despite the fact that I'm making this from scratch, I've never been a professional baker. What is aspic anyway? It's a gel. Basically, it's some kind of disgusting gelatin that they used in all kinds of dishes, and not necessarily a sweet gelatin either. That's why you see horrible pictures from the 1950s of things like hot dogs and spam and eggs and vegetables all suspended in that gelatin. That is an aspic. I buy those super cheap brown industrial paper towels in bulk. They suck at absorbing, but they're great when you use a ton. I don't doubt it. All right, so yay. Yeah, this bowl is pretty much dry, which means now we can go on to the next cake. All right. Oh, yeah. While I'm at it, though, let me see. I'm thinking I should start checking that cake after 35 to 40 minutes. I believe I put it in at just about 8:30 or so, which means at 9:05, I should definitely check the cake. Okay, the cheap brown ones because they don't leave any fluff on my cast iron. Yeah, they are good for things like that, for wiping down your cast iron, definitely. However, this next cake the pan is not being preheated in the oven. So, in fact, I should, let me put this over back by the mixer again. And let's get out the cast iron. In this case, actually, I don't even need the trivet now. The lodge, I can move this down a little bit, in fact. Here is the lodge. There's a little crumb or something. The lodge casserole dish, which is a 9x13 cast iron casserole dish. I have cut it, which is part of Lodge's baking series. I have cut out some parchment paper, and all we will really need to do is to use a little bit more of this Crisco. Get this mouse out of the way, so computer mouse, that is. So that it will properly stick to the bottom, and we don't even need a lot. Get my hands dirty. A little bit more than that. Fortunately, I already washed my hands. Because, yeah, washing your hands is, of course, essential in the kitchen. I know that sounds obvious, but, well, as you know, we've seen all kinds of videos of people who don't do the obvious things. There we go. We don't need to heavily drown this in Crisco, because all we need to do is to place our parchment paper into the pan so that it sticks to the bottom. I have it, parchment paper, I have it extended out so that after the cake cools off, I should hopefully be able to lift it out of the pan. A little bit here, a little bit there. And to this, let's put a little bit more Crisco on the inside. I could use baker's joy on this pan, but like I said, I want to be sure I can get the sheet cake out of the pan. So that's why I'm trying the parchment paper method. All right, you missed nothing, not even a small flame. I hope so. Some cake's better down the drain, that's all. Some cake batter down the drain. Maybe a little bit, yes, but only recently, in fact, I unclogged a clog in my sink, so I'm not too worried about that. Also, I have been making as much of an effort as I can not to get oil down my drain, so a tiny little bit should not be a problem, or at least I hope not. Aspic is savory gelatin filled with bits of meat, seafood, vegetables, or eggs. Used to be very boogie. I'm not. Yeah. Yeah. There was, in fact, an aspic fad. However, every attempt I've seen to recreate an aspic has given results that are, yeah, let's just say from hell, I guess. I make cabbage rolls in my pan. Oh, yeah, that's not a bad thing at all. All right. Only cursing of note has been the egg yolk incident. Well, yes, so far the chaos has not been out of control here in my kitchen. Some nights have been worse than others. But having said that, let's get this out of the way. And it's time to start working on cake number 2. Once this video is over, please feel free to post comments as to the audio, because as I mentioned, I'm using a new microphone, clip-on mic here on my shirt. And so far I've heard that the audio seems to be passable, but I would really like some more detailed criticism of that. Okay. To this. All right, that means this time, oh yeah, I have to get the scale back out. That's right. Okay, come on. Since no food is going onto the scale, all I really need to do is to give it a wipe down. Put a fresh bowl on there. Turn it off. Turn it off. Why is this thing not turning off? There we go. Oh, because I didn't have to hold it down. That's why. All right, change. Oh, the unit is still set to grams too. Nice. For the second one, yellow cake. This one, we will only need 285 grams of cake flour, spooned and leveled. Well, if we sift it, we're not going to have to spoon and level it. So definitely this is not 285 grams. So let me pour the rest of this in, and then I will work on a second box of cake flour. You know, the only cake flour I've been able to find at the store these days has been the King Arthur stuff, which is very good quality, yes, but I'm a cheapskate. I would like to be able to get something less expensive than that. Okay, 285 grams. So far, we're only at 100. Boy, exactly 100. That was interesting. Okay, so that means I've got to do another 185 grams. So open up a second box of King Arthur flour. And no, they're not paying me for that either. So far, I have yet to have any kind of sponsors on my videos. In a couple of instances, as you know, a couple of times I was sent cast iron to review and try out, but I don't think that's really the same as a sponsor. So, do this just a little bit. All right, try it this way. Don't want to get it all over the place either. Okay, we need to do another, again, we need to do a total of 285 grams. So that's not going to be very much. So let's try not to dump too much of this out at once. Oh, good grief. Let's try to do this carefully and not dump too much out at once. Yeah, because, yeah, I know, here's where the chaos comes in. Okay, this was only 50 grams. All right, instead of doing it this way and being stupid, put this down for the moment, put this back in the box, and let's get out something and start scooping it in rather than risking dumping it all over the place, which is entirely par for the course for me. So let's do a quarter cup of cake flour. It's probably how I should have been doing it in the first place, because that brings me up now to 194 and 195. So another quarter cup seems safe. 236, 238. All right, one more quarter cup. Yeah, definitely. I'm already thinking this was the right way to go. And of course, I should have done this in the first place. 244, 246, 270. We're getting close. 71, 78, 82, 84. There we go. 285. Exactly the right amount. Yay. Oh, did something right for once. I can't believe it. All right, so that means I'm done with the sifter. All right, and to our flour now. In this case, let me put this cake flour away. Once again, I'm doing my best to avoid accidents. Accidents in my kitchen since when? Oh, you weren't here, I think, when I spilled at least a couple of pounds of rice on the floor a couple of weeks back. You have been running errands, but did any cast iron jump out at you since you last bought any? I have been running errands. I'm sorry to say. One thing I saw a video of, and I did point the video, and I did repost the video to my Facebook, is somebody has finally made an actual cast iron crock pot slow cooker. It's Asian made. It's not from Lodge, but it is. As I said, I posted the video to that on my Facebook. My scales would have trimmed out a long time ago. Okay, actually, I'm done with the scale for that matter. So let's turn the scale off, put it away, or at least put it to the side. And now to this, we do 2.5 teaspoons of baking powder. So let's dig out the baking powder again. And remember, at 9:05 and about a little less than 15 minutes. So I think I'm starting to smell that cake already. 2.5 teaspoons. So here is 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Here's another teaspoon of baking powder. And let's switch over to the 1/2 teaspoon and have 2.5 teaspoons of baking powder. Cover this. And next, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, much less than the last time. So my 1/4 teaspoon. All right, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. And to this, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Doing my best not to forget anything this time. I mean, how many times have you folks seen me get everything all ready and then I forget a crucial ingredient? I'm doing my best. I guess because, the last couple of videos were canceled, I'm doing my really everything I can to make sure everything goes right tonight. 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And once again, we whisk our dry ingredients. And again, the nice thing about sifted flour is that it's very easy to whisk. And the nice part again is that weighing the flour means that we have just the right amount. I mean, you don't even have to spoon and or level it. You don't even have to level the measuring cup because we're not using a measuring cup. So it doesn't matter how dense it was in the first place, we have the right amount of flour. And having said that, there we go. Now, next step would be, once again, time to cream, just like we did before. So just like before, let's head back again to our KitchenAid mixer, which has a little bit more flour residue around it than the last time. I wonder why. Come on. There we go. That's not a bad view right there. All right, strawberry. I have Jello pie recipes. Best flavor to use is strawberry. Nice. Okay, we've been talking Jello. Oh, that all sounds good too. Okay, now this time we are using 1 cup of butter, which is definitely softened as we saw last time. 1 cup is 2 sticks. Oh, can't believe I actually remembered to take this out and bring it to room temperature. This and the eggs, no less. So here's 1. Here's 2. Come on. That's 2. And 1 3/4 cups of granulated sugar. So once again, let's get out that 1/2 cup. that means 1 3/4. So that means 3 half cups of sugar. So not quite enough. There we go. Sugar is much easier to level than flour. 1, 2, 3. Come on, 3. Okay. Don't tell me I don't have quite enough left in this container to measure out a half a cup of sugar. So excuse me for one moment. I add some more sugar to this container. Oh yeah, this was a dollar store container, by the way. Those things are actually useful for things like sugar. There we go. I will measure out the rest of it later. It is now 8:57. There's my third half cup. So we're at 1.5 cups. So now get to use that 1/4 cup again. Has a tiny bit of flour residue, but again, I'm not worried about that. And there is 1 3/4 cups of sugar. As I said, a fancy recipe might be ruined by having a tiny bit of flour residue in the sugar, but this is a very basic recipe, and that's why I'm not worried at all about it. Time to get our paddle once again. One other thing I've learned about in cooking, despite everything, I find don't be afraid to take risks. There we go. Got it. And now, once again, time to cream. Let's try, there we go. Move this over for you folks. Okay, yeah, nice thing about this mic on my shirt is that the mixer is not drowning my voice out. Okay, VL XXX, yes, right now we're making vanilla cake. That's true. This is our second cake. The first cake is going to be coming out of the oven in about 5 minutes. However, I've got one other thing I need to do because to this, I'm supposed to add 4 egg yolks. Here are the 2 egg yolks over here that I reserved from the last cake. So now I only have to use 2. And by the way, does this say anything about using any extra whites? It does not. Oh, wait a second. Actually, yes. I'm actually going to need to separate this and have 2 egg whites because that's the part I'm going to have to beat into a meringue. So this is actually turning out very convenient. So here is the bowl as well that I will be using the egg whites. Only this time I hope I don't mess it up. Try to be careful, shall we? Or shall I? The eggs are room temperature. That means we start with a little bit of that. Come on. Do this right. Come on, I'm trying to get this bit of extra white out of here. Ah, damn it. There it goes again. The same thing I did last time. However, it did not come apart. Maybe I can do it right this time. Just simply. Yay, did it. Nope. Oh, nuts. Oh, well. Okay. Well, there's 1 egg white. And here's 2 egg whites. I would definitely be kicked out of Hell's Kitchen on the first week. No question about that. Fortunately, I have my own Hell's Kitchen. Try to do this without any shell. There we go. Be careful. I'm not sure if this egg broke. Maybe I should, yeah, I don't know. I think the egg might be broken. I don't know if I should just do the same thing. So far, it doesn't look like it. Come on. What is this, placenta? What? Yeah, I know. Hey, it's my own fingers, and I wash my hands anyway. Carefully get the egg yolk into here. Got it. All right. Well, a total of 4 egg yolks. Hold on 1 second. I think somebody is coming back from running an errand. All right, let's do this quickly. Just 1 second. Hello. Okay. And with that, it is just about time to test the cake. So, okay, we're done creaming the eggs. Let's put this over here. I better dig out that trivet again, because that means now we get to see some cast iron once again. I always make such a huge mess in my kitchen every time I do these live videos. All right, it means, oh yeah, one other thing I get to do, dig out my Rebel cake tester. Here it is. I think I told the story. No, I definitely told the story of why I call this my Rebel cake tester, because it has the words cake tester on it, especially so that the authorities won't mistake it for a hat pin, which are still illegal in many areas. Okay, let's move these things out of the way and move this sugar out of the way. All right, let the butter cream and check the cake. Okay, yeah, okay, I'll turn this back on. At least on low anyway. All right. So now, let's see what our cake looks like. The vanilla cake. Here it comes. Oh, not bad. I'm not sure if it's done yet, though. It's very light on top. I really don't think this is done. In fact, I can see this is nowhere near done. I can tell already. Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, definitely not. I would give it at least another 10 minutes or so. Okay, so back into the oven it goes. There we go. All right, that means back to the creaming. Okay, let me try to get a better view for you folks. There, that's pretty good. All right, we are getting close though to preparing this one. All right, because to this we do, here's where we add those egg yolks. And this is what makes it a yellow cake, that we're using mostly egg yolks. I better dig up another spatula here. Come on. Get the rest of the egg yolk in there. I can turn this up a little bit. That's better. 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. I'm just about done with this batch of vanilla extract. I'm going to have to refill it. And 1 more cup of buttermilk, which is essentially the rest of this buttermilk. Okay. And oh, nuts. I knew I forgot something. Give me just a second. There's one last ingredient I need to get out. Where did my stool go? I had a step stool here. All right. Appreciate your patience. I'm right now digging into my spice closet to get out the cream of tartar. And there it is. Yay. Which anybody who makes meringue knows, cream of tartar is a very important ingredient for that. I think it should also be used in other kinds of baking, but not many people do that. All right, cream of tartar. Because here's where I'm going to try doing something a little different. Now, let me see here. Using a handheld or stand mixer fitted with a battle, beat the sugar. Okay. Add very good. Beat until combined. Oh, okay. Not supposed to even do the meringue until after we're done adding the dry ingredients, which is good. All right. Then in that case, add about some. I'm just double checking the recipe. Yeah, that's right. So we're gonna get everything done together and then do a meringue to go into this yellow cake, which means all we have to do now is add the um, dry ingredients once again. Let me give you a better view of this. There we go. I mean, the reason why I seem to be huffing and puffing is because, of course, I'm doing this live here. Doing it by yourself, as you can see, again, this is a very basic cake mix. It's really not that difficult. This is definitely not as moist as the other one, but that's because we haven't done the last part of the recipe yet. However, turn this off for the moment. Scrape down the sides again. And by the way, I haven't forgotten. I did say 10 minutes to check the cake. Here we go. But actually, now that we've scraped off the sides, this is also looking pretty good. Nonetheless, we've got one more thing to do to take it up a notch. Hey, did you add the buttermilk? Yes, I added the buttermilk. Before the flour, yes, I did. I added all the wet ingredients together and then mixed the dry ingredients in with them. So the one thing we have to do is meringue. And here's where I hope I don't make a mistake. Why? Because I am going to attempt to use a stick blender to make this meringue. And here's why I hope I'm not making a mistake. Now to these 2 egg whites, all I have to do is add, it says here, 1/8 of a teaspoon, or in other words, just pretty much a pinch of cream of tartar. So don't overdo it. There we go. That's probably all we need. Okay, the recipe says whip the egg whites, beat the egg whites and cream of tartar on high speed until fluffy peaks form. It always says that when you're trying to make a meringue. So that means I can unplug the scale since we're done with the scale. Plug in. Oh, how nice. My guests are now watching Hell's Kitchen. Yeah, to my guests, I've already mentioned that I would probably be kicked off of Hell's Kitchen on week 1. So, okay, to this, because I'm about to try something that I've never done before. Here's hoping I don't mess up. Move this cord out of the way. And away we go. Oh, well, for starters, it's barely even. Well, for starters, first is barely even contacting the blades. Okay, well, there is mistake number one. What can I do about that? What I can do is, instead of this bowl, let me quickly dig out something else. Ha! Like this, for instance. All right. Because, yeah, this is all a learning experience for me. There goes the egg white. And let's see what happens this time. I'm not sure, but it might be working. Look at this. By Jove, I think we might actually be making progress here. We're supposed to do this for 3 minutes. All right. Well, for starters, I'm going to have to put this on the here, because I don't think I can hold it up in my hands for 3 minutes. Also occurs to me I probably should have used my food processor. Nonetheless, the whole point of this, of course, is to get a really fluffy base to add to this cake batter. Since this is not like meringue cookies or whatever, I don't think the cake will be a flop, even if this meringue doesn't turn out as well as we'd like, as well as I'd like. I'm blaming myself. I'm not saying we. I guess I had better just be patient. It should taste good regardless of this, but I really hope I can actually get some results out of this. Okay. There she climbs. It will just be more dense. Okay, well, thank you for the encouragement, everyone. Yes, he would be called everything but his name. Oh, you're talking about if I were on Hell's Kitchen. No doubt about that. Cream of tartar makes this happen faster. Cake alert. Oh, cake alert. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, let's hold tight on this. Hope it doesn't fall over. Thank you for the reminder. Yeah, and this is why I love doing these live videos with you folks. You remind me of things like this. Let's move back over here. And let's look again at our vanilla cake, which is looking much more promising now. Ugh. That looks much closer to done. Let's find out. Carefully. Oh, much better. Much better. Look on this side. Hey, I think you called it. Thank you very much to everybody. Thank you to Fuzzfork8 and Ronald Coward and everybody, because it does look like the vanilla cake is ready, or at least it's come out of the oven. I now have to let this thing sit for 20 minutes before flipping it out of the pan. All right, 20 minutes. That will mean at 9:35. I'm not sure if the live video is still going to be on, but step one is done. Actually, we're past step one. Step one was preparing that. We're on something like step 5 or 6 at this point. Because, let's go back again. To what I hope is going to be something of a meringue. I'll probably do this for about another minute or so, and then we'll have to call it. We do have something. I mean, it's definitely, it's definitely white and fluff. It's definitely white. So, not too bad, I think. All right. I always use Alexa for a timer. I just hope the humidity isn't too high. It can destroy egg whites. There is that possibility. It has been a warm and humid day today here. Do you have to flip it upside down like angel food cake? The one in the bundt pan, yes, I will be flipping it. I've done this many times. It's always, it's always a tense moment when I actually flip the cake. But all we can do is find out. Having said all that, well, actually, let me just put this over the side right now. This doesn't look too bad, I think. So, first, where did my spatula go? Here it is. Let's do this right. Get this over here. Sorry for the roller coaster ride once again. Get this out of here. Okay. Now let's see what happens when we try adding this meringue. It doesn't look too bad. Okay, so far so good. I'm hearing Chef Ramsay throwing somebody out of the kitchen, and that's why I can guarantee I would not last in his kitchen. However, now that we've done that, let's just do a little bit more mixing. And let's see, I've got to move these things around a little bit. I've got such a terrible mess to clean up tonight. All right, move the cake over here. Just about ready, I think, because we still don't want to overmix the batter. On the other hand, I better scrape it down one last time. This and that. Okay. There we go. Just a tiny bit of and with that, I think this batter is ready. So now that means time to head back here again. Like I said, I've got flour residue all over everything. Told you I've got a big mess here tonight. Unfortunately, I've already greased this. So I think just to be safe, I'll run a little bit more Crisco on the sides, only because I don't trust myself. A little bit here. A little bit there. Okay. All right. That means we are now ready to put the second cake into the oven. Oh, well, at least I've been keeping busy tonight. I hope I've been doing my best to keep you folks entertained. So, bring this down. All right, right now I'm just removing the paddle actually let you folks watch this. Come on, there we go. Sorry about that. Let you folks watch this rather than just tell you what's happening. Take the paddle out. I have guests here, so this time somebody can lick the bowl when this goes into the oven. Into the Come on. Why can't I turn this over? There we go. Okay. That means, for the record, this one is supposed to bake, it says here 27 to 31 minutes. Interesting time. However, all we can do is bake it until it's done. Speaking of which, time to get this yellow cake into the cake pan. All right. I'm hoping we can at least stay live, if you folks don't mind, until we flip the vanilla cake. I mean, it'll still be hot, but at least we will have the results of one of these two cakes. I will show you photos of what happens to this second cake. But right now, okay, this, that, and the other. There we go. Now all we do is spread it out. All right. Try to even it out a little bit, although I believe it will settle as it bakes anyway. Okay. That means pretty much the hard work is done, and it is time for our yellow cake to go into the oven. And in we go to our 350-degree oven for about, it says 30 minutes. So I'll check it after, well, 31 minutes. It says after 30 minutes, I will check it. Woof. Wiley didn't use the timer since she didn't hear it. Now that she's got another set of hearing aids, she might use a timer. Yeller cake, old yeller cake. Hopefully I don't have to shoot it at the end. I can only coax about half of my batter into the pan. Unfortunately, I have to eat the other half now. Oh, yeah, I know. What a tragedy. Namely that I've got this extra batter. Gee, I've got this extra cake batter, and somebody's going to have to lick the bowl. So who wants to lick the bowl? Am I hearing any volunteers? I think I do have a volunteer, yes. On the other hand, one second here. Try a lick at least. This is yellow cake batter. All right, that means, okay, my most recent timer was an old-fashioned one. Really, I dropped in and broke the mechanism that rang the bell. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, if it doesn't have rabies, it shouldn't be a problem. Well, hopefully this cake won't have rabies. I never heat my cast iron cake pan. Yes, okay. Corey Clark, you've been seeing me doing this channel long enough. You know that's the method that I kind of developed myself, and I like it because it gives me a very high success rate on my cakes. I am an exception, yes. Many people make their cakes just simply by greasing and flouring the pan, or using baker's spray, or even just buttering the pan. But I have had, what can I say? I've had a lot of success with this method, and that's why I enjoy doing it. Of course, we'll find out now in just about a little less than 10 minutes. Yeah, that's right. It came out at 9:15, so 9:25, 9:35. Yeah, once we flip the cake, I think we'll call it a night. So, all right. Let me scroll back. Actually, let me quickly rinse and wash my hands one more time. Oh yeah, before it gets wet and everything. Um, Here's the mixing paddle. Okay, I also put the mixing paddle for them to lick too. Anyway, now that I've done that, dry off my hands, and where did I put that mouse? Here it is. I want to be sure. I know I've missed a lot of comments here. I need coffee with my cake. Well, not at this time of night, I'm afraid. Flip it good. Flip it into shape, shape it up, get straight, go forward. Wifey didn't use the timer. No, we saw that one. Men are the best cooks. Just ask us when the wife isn't around. I'm not going to comment on that one, Fuzzfork, because I have several ladies present. I'm a better cook than my wife. Ask anyone but her. I need a long-handled scoop scraper. You are probably right. I suppose I'll have to look one up and see what might be available. Husbands should only be in the kitchen to cook you breakfast and to eat. Well, I don't know. I mean, the reason why I'm doing these live videos is because I enjoy them. I mean, if they weren't fun for me, I wouldn't be doing them. I mean, it's a bonus that a lot of other people, you folks, seem to enjoy my live videos. So that is why, again, I've been doing this now for the past 5 years, and they've all, just about all, been a lot of fun. And having you folks here, as I say every week, is a big reason why. All right, I hope the humidity isn't too high. Well, let's hope. Well, all we can do is find out. Okay, I put that I put that cake into the batter, into the oven. I'd say maybe about 4 minutes ago at this point. It is 9:28, meaning that I'm gonna have to check it at about 9:54. So that's exactly what I will do. All right. Nonetheless, try attaching your mic about 6 inches below your mouth, aimed upward. Okay. Let's see what if you don't mind, I'm going to try to adjust this mic exactly as you said. See if this changes anything. I am very much open to comments, especially since this is my first night using this mic. So I have now placed this mic directly under my chin. I'm not sure if this sounds any different or not. I'm pretty sure of Yeller Old Yeller. That's why you're talking about rabies. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Old Yeller just had regular rabies. So, yeah, no, I mean, especially since it was supposed to have been set in the, in the 1800s. This is better entertainment network or cable TV. Well, I certainly hope so. Oh, so we're talking better sounds now. Sounds a little bit better. Okay, lesson learned. I will be I will be positioning the mic in this way, in this manner, as you can see, almost directly below my chin from now on. Thank you very much thank you for the comments, folks. This is my first night. I'm just glad that this thing actually works. All right. And at this point, it is 9:30. We still have 5 more minutes, but I should certainly start getting together the necessary stuff to flip the cake. So it is now get to dig out a really expensive Dollar Tree tray. They call this a pizza pan at Dollar Tree and Walmart. These things are absolutely terrible at making pizza, but they make pretty good trays, and I've flipped out a number of cakes on these. Also, it's a good excuse as well to bring out these large lifting handles, which is yet another method that I developed, if I may say so, that not a lot of people use for flipping cakes. All right. Does sound a lot better now. Well, thank you very much, William Hurt. I apologize for the difficulty with the sound earlier then. Okay, that means while we are waiting, least I can do is break out my gloves. Where did I just put my gloves? Ugh. Oh, there they are. Okay. And let's at least give you folks another view of the cake before we flip it. And again, for the record, as I said, this is the type of cake that they usually make in two 9-inch cake pans. As you can see, that gives you just enough to fit in the large bundt pan, which is a pretty large size for a bundt pan. In fact, I've compared this to aluminum bundt pans that you can get everywhere, and this definitely measures up. The large pan is at least the same size as your typical aluminum bundt pan. The only difference, of course, is that it's made in cast iron. Yeah, I'm about to flip it out. I'm about to flip out. Boy, with the way things have been going out, I've already flipped out. Only this time, my flipping out is going to be a lot more fun. All right, flip out in front of us all. Well, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So yeah, you get to see it live as I just flip out, and pretty much the end result is either you're going to hear a lot of censored words, uncensored, or we're going to have ourselves a cake. Oh yeah, that's right. There's one last thing I need to do, and that's break out a little cake spatula which I have in my junk drawer here somewhere, or I should have it here in my junk drawer. Let's see, what do I have in here? Pizza cutter, pie plate, meat tenderizer, this thing for cleaning my turkey baster, can opener, laser thermometer, some chopsticks, cake, pastry cutter, all kinds of stuff that you would usually have in a junk drawer, but I don't see a spatula in here. All right. That means I'm going to have to, utility drawer, aka a junk drawer. Oh, gee, I open up my utensil drawer, and here's the spatula. Figures. Especially since it is now time. It is now 9:34, but I'd say that's good enough because it's either going to work or it's not. Time now for what I say every time, the moment of truth. And that means it just simply work the spatula around to make sure nothing loosens or nothing sticks rather. However, it looks like it is coming away from the sides very nicely, which is a good sign. That means all we have to do is gently poke at the center so that it doesn't stick there. And now, in we go. 1 and 2. All right, this is the part. I've been doing this for years now, and the suspense gets me every time because this has not given me a 100% success rate. So, do this right, and on we go. So, also, I don't want to bump into this camera. Okay, that means this. Hold this down tight so these handles don't slip off, and ha! Almost ha. This is a little bit on the side here. There we go. Now, ha. All right. That means give it a little bit of incentive here. And here we go. Time for the final countdown. A 1, a 2, a 3. Almost success. Okay, I've actually had better results, but it came out about 85% successful. I've actually done better, but it held together. Okay, all right, let me see. That means I've got to get this hot cake pan out of the way, and at least it was not a disaster. Whoops. However, I just pushed my mouse over on the floor. How nice. All right, that means now, carefully. Yeah, there we are. Yeah, I have done better. I have had these things come out spotless. But it was still a success because it was not a disaster. I gotta pick that mouse up off the floor. Ugh. Now, come on already. Ugh. And I don't want to end up canceling this video feed either. Okay, but there we are. All right, not too bad. Okay, chaos almost avoided. Yeah, exactly. Still gonna taste good, and yeah, I'd eat that. And yeah, of course, that means we'll just have to scrape these little bits out of the pan and try them anyway. So just needs icing. As soon as it cools off, we will be able to ice it. Still not too bad. All right, take those pieces from the pan and glue them on. Yeah, that seems certain possible. Although checking this, I think these little pieces are stuck pretty good. I don't think I can take them off out of the pan in one piece. Well, as I said, they'll yeah, a little bit of drizzle of frosting, it'll be perfect. Yeah, well, not perfect, but hey, nobody's gonna complain because I have no doubt this is going to be a delicious cake, which means, yeah, the mouse ate your cake. Yeah, don't even say that because I do have mice. Miss Mobley, my dear little cat, she's actually caught two mice within like I don't know the past couple of weeks or so. So I'm gonna have to put a trap up in the attic or something. However, she's been doing a good job at scaring the mice away because we have not seen any other mice since that. I did get a bat in here about a week or so ago, but other than that, I'd say we are done. Next time, use the lamb mold. Well, okay, we will work on that. But I do believe we are finally all set here. First of all, let me click this. There we go. And that means it is time at last to call this one a night. So, and I had better not forget, I've got a second cake in the oven, and I'm gonna have to check that one. I said it like at about 9:53 or so. But with that one, I use the parchment paper. So the real question there is, will I be able to successfully lift it out of the pan? All we can do is find out. Until then, though, I do believe we are all set. And so I'd like to thank everybody once again for being kind enough to return to this channel after this live video was canceled the last couple of weeks. I can only hope we're going to be able to get back to a regular schedule here because I missed this. This is I am all worn out now and I got a big mess to clean up, but it was very therapeutic and definitely it helped to reduce stress. So I very much appreciate that. And as always, I appreciate everybody's presence here because you folks here on the channel, I mean, we still have 37 people here in this live chat room, even after all this time. So thank you so much to everybody. Thank you to Incel Hubby, who's here, and Corey Clark, and William Hurt, and Val's Black Cats Rule, Ronald Coward, Greg Hart, rather, Warren Ukraine, Rocket Caver, and so many others who have been kind enough to enjoy my videos. And I can only thank all of you really for giving me the incentive to keep doing them because they are indeed so much fun. I think the string might be better that way. Okay. So once again, though, thank you to everybody because I certainly intend to do this again next week if possible. Until then, I have house guests here who are pretty much ready to pounce on this cake the moment I turn off this video. So, and especially since I don't want anything naughty to show here on YouTube, I think we are about ready here. Thank you as well to VL Triple X and Granny Grams, and have a good night as well to you too. And thank you to Pip Gorn. And yes, I have no doubt we will be enjoying the cake. I don't even know if it's going to last long enough to frost it, but we will see. But thank you to everybody as always, and also thank you to Honey Badger for filling in each time I haven't been able to cancel. I've been able to do this, and his live video is tomorrow night. And thank you to everybody. So let's all enjoy our Wednesday evening. Try to stay cool because the hot weather is finally here again. And as always, I just end this with a quote from my favorite movie, 2001: A Space Odyssey. See you next Wednesday.